All right, we're back. So, last time we talked about Sword Art Online 1. Guess what? Real fucking mind-boggling thing we're going to do here. We're going to talk about Sword Art Online 2. Sword Art Online 2. And I came up because I wrote all these reviews like months ago when I actually watched the series. Now I'm just recording them because I'm bored. And I wrote little taglines for every single show I watched / movie after the fact. So this one I dubbed Sword Art Online 2. This time there's two swords. Very clever. So there's a lot of people who would say Sword Art Online 2 is actually worse than the original, and for the most part it kind of is. But this time around I really had a good time watching this show. Starting with this first arc here, we have Kirito diving into the world of Gun Gale Online, and for those who don't know, who haven't seen the show for whatever reason and or decided to watch this video, it's a military sim, super hyper militaristic sim. You shoot guns. It's like CSGO, but for like even bigger nerds. And so it has this, tricky issue where people are dying while playing it. And so the Japanese government's like, fuck, dude, we can't be having people die while playing MMOs again. So they call in Kirito because he's the last one. He's the guy who solved the last one. So it's like, all right, well, shit. So we'll call in this 17-year-old. He got this. He's got a good track record. So go off. And so it's they have him go in to get down to the bottom of the issue. And so that's what kind of the setup for this part of season 2 is. We're introduced to some new characters like my favorite girl, my best girl, Sinon. Usually not top ranking. If you know me personally, I'm a fan of late editions. Get me in there. Those late editions, love them. So she ends up being one of my favorites of the cast, and she's actually kind of fun because she's an actual character this time. And she's pretty cool. But the big issue with her is she's just riddled to death with PTSD due to her killing a guy who decided to rob a post office for some reason. Not really sure what his plan there, but it's cool. And together she and Kirito end this whole killing people fiasco in the game. So, there's a couple things I have issues. There's a couple issues I have with this season, or at least this first part, is they decide to throw in that Kirito has PTSD from Aincrad, which, kind of makes sense, but it's not PTSD about playing video games because that would make too much sense. It's PTSD that comes from him having killed in Aincrad. So that one guy he killed in season 1, and then they decided to throw in and retcon 2 other people he killed. I don't know if that's in the light novel or not because I'm not lame and I haven't read it. But, excuse me, the show just decided to be like, by the way, he killed, 2 whole more people, by the way. I'm like, alright, whatever. So, it's kind of a pain in the ass to watch because it's just like, oh, now he has issues. And this was all self-defense for the most part. It's not like he just went out and killed people for funsies. So, I don't know. It's just kind of like, it's kind of annoying because we're never really shown any hints to this. Like, if he had, issues playing Sword Art Online, after the fact, or if he had some issue, or if he had any qualms or problems playing, like, what's it called? The fucking fairy game. I don't remember the name at the moment. But if he had any issues with that or killing people, especially, like, the only thing he seemed to have an issue with was he was kind of afraid to die that one time. But then, like, after he did that and then didn't die, he was like, oh, alright, this is fine. So that was kind of annoying. And not only that, the 2 people he killed seem to be just kind of, they just retconned in. So it's obvious that the reason they kind of threw this in and retconned him to have PTSD was so he can have some character parallels with Sinon and what she's going through. Whereas, like, Kirito is freaking out with PTSD, and so is Sinon, and they kind of overcome that together as a team, essentially. So that's kind of cool, and it was good. It's an interesting plot that they go through together, and kind of a character flaw that they conquer together. So it's not like it's a horrible idea. It's just executed pretty poorly, because I feel like it was just kind of out of nowhere this happened. So I don't know. So that was like the main issue I had with like the first part, or one of the main issues at least. Another one was the antagonist of Death Gun, and for the most part he's actually pretty cool. Death Gun's interesting. He has a seemingly impossible ability to kill in the game and kill outside in real life at the same time. So that's pretty interesting. And everyone's just like, how the fuck? What? This guy, he's a ghost or something. I don't know. So it's like, okay, whatever. And then it's discovered that when it's discovered that they're actually just highly meticulously crafted murder plots with 3 people on the plan, and him being part of Laughing Coffin was, fine. I thought those were both, actually very, it's a good explanation to why he can kill in the game and kill outside of the game at the same time. It's like, oh, it's just 2 people. It's like, oh yeah, obviously that makes sense. And then they're like, wait a minute, it's actually 3. Ah! And it's like, all right, fine, whatever, sure. But I mean, it makes sense that it's like, oh, and it kind of falls into place. And then the guys being murderers because of what they did in Aincrad makes sense. Like the guy being part of Laughing Coffin in Aincrad and getting kind of a taste for killing with zero recourse of being told that's a no-no. Zero, what the fuck? Yeah, I can't remember the word. I'm stupid. But it makes sense that he would be like, oh, I'm gonna keep killing people. That was super fun. So, mentally deranged people would be like that. And the only issue I really have with Death Gun is that in the end, the guy who was going to kill Sinon, who was coincidentally her friend, I felt that's a little bit of a bullshit ass situation. Kind of whatever, but it's annoying. It just felt like a real asshole be like, oh, by the way, this guy was Death Gun. It's like, what? Also, if you watch the intro, it totally spoils that this dickhead is Death Gun. Like, it shows it. He, is standing there with his fucking hand out, and then, he, transforms into Death Gun, or, a giant fire explosion happens, and then it shows Death Gun right after, and it's like, if you had any modicum of, I mean, if you're not looking for that, and if you're not, if you skip anime openings, 99% of people do anyway, you're not gonna really notice that. I didn't notice it, because I skipped. I found that out from another video where it was very funny. I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck, dude? But yeah, but then, the guy who decides to be the killer this time typically was actually the guy playing the game, but this specific time he decides when they're gonna go kill Sinon, that the guy who happened to be her friend was like, no, bro, I gotta be the one to kill the girl I'm in love with. And it's like, okay, I guess, sure, whatever. And then for some reason, they don't end up killing her in the game, because Death Gun ends up getting losing because he sucks ass at the game. Kirito fucking beats his ass, and so he decides to get all rapey and molest her, or try to. It's really weird. It's like, what the fuck? You were a murderer 2 seconds ago. Why did you make this jump? Your plan was kind of interesting, and you were kind of a compelling villain to be like, oh, that's really clever to go around and kill people and in the game and make it seem like it's in the game, and you had very meticulously crafted plans or whatever. Oh, now you're just a rapist. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Whatever. Fucking, Reki Kawahara can't write for shit. That's fine. And then Kirito decides to pull up to Sinon's house at the nick of time to be like, oh shit, I'm here, I'm gonna save her, yo! And he runs in and starts beating the shit out of the guy, which is kind of sick, actually. Which a lot of people are like, how the fuck did he get there? How did he know? Whatever. How did he know where she lives? She tells him her address in the game. She's like, this is where I live, and he's like, no way, that's where I'm in the fucking hospital. Which, okay, that's a little bit of a fucking mega coincidence, but I mean, it's not it's not too far out of the realm of possibility. And then him getting there, she said, no, I'm okay, you don't have to come by, but I mean, after that whole situation, if I were him, I would fucking roll on through anyway, even if she said don't show up, because like the whole plan was like the fact that he was in her apartment ready to kill her whenever she died in the game. So the guy was still in her house. That's what they both were thinking. They're like, okay, well, after we win the thing, the guy will just leave. But it's like, there's no real proof that he's gonna do that. He could just kill her anyway because, you know, what if she sees him or has cameras or some weird shit? I don't know. But the yeah, so then he comes in and starts beating the kid's ass, and then anyway, he saves the day and everything's chill. And the best part of that whole fight is when Kirito gets shot up with the drug that's supposed to like stop your heart and kill you, and he like starts writhing around on the ground. He's like, fuck, I'm dying, ma. And it's like, oh my god, what do I do? And like, Sino like fucking pulls his shirt up, and she's like, oh my god, you got. And then she's like looking at it, and she's like, why is her shirt all wet? And he's like, what? And then she like pulls off an electrode, and she's like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, oh shit, it's one of the electrodes that were on me. And it's like, okay, that's fine. That's pretty funny. That's a funny little joke. But why were you writhing in pain? Like, I guess placebo, he thought he was dead. He was like, "Ugh!" and just died. But he was fine. And he was like, oh, okay, well, that's fucking something. Cool. And then that's pretty much the first part. I liked it. It's not bad. I mean, it's pretty, okay, it's bad. There's some asspulls and bullshittery in it, but like, it's not completely, absolutely horrible. It's still on par with everything that's been in the series. There's some bad writing. There's some, you know, nonsense here and there. For the most part, the show is pretty the same here. Now, the next arc. Ow, I just shook my whole fucking desk with my arm. Sorry about that. The next arc. Oh boy. My God. Jesus Christ. Dude, it fucking sucks. My God. It blows ass. Dude, this fucking stupid ass arc. I don't remember how many episodes it was. It was kind of a lot, because the show's, I think, like 25 episodes. And it's like, I think it's like 6 or 7. I think. Maybe it's less. Maybe maybe my hatred is bringing out the longer of this. But it's boring as hell, dude. It's a whole fucking nothing burger, and who cares? Who's who of who cares what the fuck is happening? They're talking about the game. They're like, oh my god, the Cardinal system, it's gonna fucking blow up the video game with ice if we don't kill the frost giant guy, because the Cardinal system can just kill itself, I guess. And I'm like, what the fuck? What, so? And it's like, it's literally all about Alfheim Online and like how they need to save Alfheim Online. I think it's total filler. It doesn't feel normal. So, I don't know. I feel like it's totally filler, and you can absolutely just be like, you can skip these like 4, 5, or 6, or 7, how many fucking episodes it is. I think it's a lot. I watched like half, for the most part. I was like not paying attention. I was like playing Mario Galaxy or something. But for the, or no, I was driving in the fucking line at In-N-Out when I was watching these episodes. Don't do that. That's bad. But I was doing it because I was just watching it. But yeah, fuck that arc. It sucks ass. Don't watch it. It's dog shit. Skip it. Move on. Now we move on to arguably one of the better arcs in the entire series. There's like 2 or 3 things that are massively wrong with it, which I will talk about. But we have the Mother's Rosario arc, also known famously by me, the AIDS girl arc. Spoiler alert, someone has AIDS, literally, and it's very fucking stupid. So this time it's funny because the first time I watched this, I really fucking didn't like this part. I thought it was boring. I thought it was lame. The story centering around Asuna, lame as fuck. But this time I actually really liked it. It's besides the major glaring issue of Yuki having mega AIDS in the year 2025. that was caught from a blood transfusion in 2011 in the show. But, you know, the idea of a bunch of terminally ill people wanting to cement their place in this game by clearing the boss and being forever memorialized in the starting town absolutely makes a lot of sense, and it's pretty interesting. It makes sense. It's fun. And then the choice to make Asuna our starter here is pretty interesting. It gives, you know, it throws Kirito completely to the background. Like, he's barely in any of these episodes. Like, he might have some screen time, like, here and there. Asuna might chat with him, but for like probably 95 to 85% of this arc, it's all Asuna dealing with everything on her own, which is really cool. It really brings back the fact that she has agency. She's a good player. She's kind of a beast still. It was a good idea. Yeah. It was a real good change of pace too. Also peeking into her strained relationship with her family and being mocked about being wealthy, still having problems, is pretty realistic. You know, struggles relative, and even those who are rich have their own issues, like bad families. So if you're poor and have a good family, you might be unhappy. But then also, if you're rich and have a bad family, you'll still be unhappy. It's pretty wild. You know, fucking crazy shit coming out of Sword Art Online here. And then Yuki as a character is pretty interesting because of her being in a full dive environment for like 3 years at this point in the show, making her even better at games than like a certain, you know, godlike figure in our mixed is pretty understandable. It makes sense. Like, she would just be really, really good at it because that's all she fucking does. So her being baller as fuck, it's totally fair. And then they do kind of make it an ass pull, like, oh, Kirito's different since playing Sword Art Online. And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, he doesn't fight with the same fervor he did because his life is not on the line. And I'm like, I mean, I guess, yeah, sure. I guess if you're fighting for little, you know, if it's literally to the death, like, I guess you would be like, oh fuck, better fight better. But I mean, why wouldn't he just fight like that always? It would make him God mode, but I don't know. That was just their asshole to be like, well, he's actually probably still better. He's just kind of farting around now. And I'm like, okay, fucking whatever. Sure, you go ahead and do that. Whatever. And then the story of Asuna befriending Yuki and helping her experience life, to which she can't, is a really nice story. It's just a shame she has AIDS. Like, I really enjoyed all of this arc for the most part. It was really fun. Probably the best arc since Aincrad, which isn't saying much because at that arc at most is like a 7, but decent nonetheless. But the issue I have is like, why did he give her AIDS? Like, I don't know when this was written originally, but AIDS is a disease that you can live with currently, now. And you've been able to live with for like the last 25 years. Like, you can just survive with AIDS. Like, yeah, life sucks and it's like not nearly as, you're taking meds and shit all the time, but like, it's not like you're totally bedridden and dead. Like, you could be if it's really, really bad, I guess. But I mean, in a world like this where technology is absolutely light years above what we even have now in the year of 2024, you're telling me someone was killed by AIDS that they got in 2011 as a child from their mother getting a botched blood transfusion and then giving it to her whole family. In 2025, she dies. Come on, it's bad writing. It's really bad writing. Just, I don't know why. Just give her cancer. Like, absolutely would have been. And it's weird because she's like dying in the show. She like dies in Asuna's arms or something. I don't know, but like, I don't know if AIDS does that. I've never had AIDS myself personally. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure you don't just kind of slowly waste away. I mean, you might. I don't know. You might, but it just feels like cancer would have been the better choice. Like, I've seen what cancer does to people, and it's well documented what cancer does to people, and this AIDS progresses and acts like cancer. So I'm like, why didn't you just make it cancer? Like, give her leukemia, or like brain cancer, or pancreatic cancer, or some kind of inoperable cancer, or like something that, or like metastasized to her lymph nodes, or some kind of nonsense that they say in medical shows to make it so they are like, oh, this person's dying, they're gonna die, for bye bye. But AIDS, like, really? I mean, really? It was just weird. It was just a weird poll. I don't know what he was on that day. I don't know what he was smoking, that good pack or something. But that was, it's that. That's a major issue I have with that. And then everything else, like Asuna, hanging out with her mom, teaching her mom like, look, video games aren't bad. And I'm like, your mom actually has a pretty fucking decent point here. Your mom is like, dude, these games nearly killed you before. Why are you still playing them? And Asuna's like, my boyfriend plays them with me, and I love him. It's like, that's fair, that's fine, I guess, but like, dog, you almost died. Like, none of the characters, it's so unrealistic that any of these characters still play these full dive VR MMO games. It's insane. 10,000 people died, I think. Or is it 10,000 that were locked in and 5,000 died? Was it 20,000? I can't remember. But it was just, there's so much death and carnage, and you were trapped for 2 years of your life is just gone. I mean, not gone, but like you were playing this video game instead of experiencing life. It just seems like it's a no-brainer to never touch another video game ever again, bro. I'd be terrified playing fucking Snake. It might get me. I don't know. It just feels very unrealistic that any of these people are still playing video games when, like, a lot of them nearly died several times too. They were like 2 hit points from death, and or someone like Kirito who did die and then just came back to life for funsies. Feels like a bit of an asshole here. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just. These are my thoughts on Sword Art Online 2. The show, the first arc, not bad, solid, probably 6 because it kind of pisses me off in parts. The second arc is a solid 1 out of 10. That shit was boring as fuck and I hated it. And then the third arc I actually really liked, except for the glaring AIDS issue. So I'm gonna give that one a 7. So overall, I think I'm gonna give this like a 4. Because that second arc really made me hate the show. God, it was fucking boring. And it sits right in the middle, so it's sandwiched between decent enough stuff, but it's just... Anyway, that's pretty much it. See ya.